Welcome to Kinship Cafe. I'm your host, Jim Jones, and our normal co-host, Mark Weaver, is not here this evening. He had to be away for a family emergency, but I am joined today with Reyna Beckler.
Hi.
And you're from Sage Yoga Studios?
Yes.
And we are very happy to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Well, and as we like to do for our life practices, we are going to start by taking a few minutes to do some mindful breathing, because we want to make sure we have a moment to kind of unwind from the day and get kind of centered in the present. So if this is new for some of you, we just want to take a moment where we're going to just focus on our breathing. Doesn't have to be any special kind of breathing. We just want to notice the breathing so that we can then start to become more aware of what's going on right now. Not what we're worried about from the past or the future, but just right now in the present. And I will start us off with the ringing of the bell, and when the bell rings again, we'll come back and then we'll get started. Thank you for taking that time. Reyna?
Yes.
I am very interested in yoga. I've had a chance to kind of explore some of it initially. Haven't had a chance to dive into it like I would, but I've been very intrigued by it. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about why yoga is a really interesting option for people in terms of exercise and movement.
Sure. So there are definitely physical benefits to doing yoga, but also mental benefits. So most people that actually come to our studio start by wanting to get healthy and fit. And then later on, the mental benefits, they start to notice that. So with the physical, first you're going to notice that yoga is not easy. You know, it's not sitting, oming, and meditating. It is a physical practice. And at our studio, we have about probably close to 20 different styles that we teach. So anything from gentle, restorative, all the way up to quick vinyasa flows. Yoga with weights is another option. We do trapeze, aerial. So we have pretty much a little bit of everything. So depending on where you are and what your goal is, our tagline is yoga for everybody. So, but yeah, the physical benefits are like any other form of exercise, building strength, flexibility, balance, and.
So how is it in terms of risk as far as injury? Is it a lot less of a risk because of the pace that you do things with yoga?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing I tell people is that it's pretty much zero impact. So there's no jumping, we don't do skipping, hopping, or any of that. So it's low impact. You're using your own body weight to build strength and holding poses. So engaging and holding a pose is how we build strength and flexibility. So
I've noticed the few times that I have been able to jump into it, there are muscles I didn't realize
yes.
I had.
Yes. And with the instruction that we give, we really you start to notice those little micro muscles. And for balancing also, when you're trying to, not necessarily on one foot, but holding a pose in proper form, you are doing a lot of engagement and balancing. So you will notice those other muscles that go unused. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there's the strength and that there's the mental aspects to it. I've also heard that it's good for circulation. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. So, like I said, with holding the poses, we are using our own body weight, hugging the bone with the muscle, but just moving with the breath will help with circulation. We do have a class called Yin Yoga, which is deep stretching and getting into the fascia, the other areas,
tissue.
the connective tissue. Yes, thank you. So that is a really good class too. It's not active. You're not moving around much. You're actually just holding poses for 3 to 5 minutes, seated deep stretching. So those are good for circulation. We offer a stretch and release class with foam rollers, balls that also are good for that sort of thing. So
yeah. So is it a situation where if somebody's new to yoga or hasn't done it before that they're going to feel uncomfortable in the class, or what's it like? What can somebody expect if they're coming into a yoga class?
So walking into our studio, our goal is to make everyone feel welcome. And we always can tell the new students, they come in clutching their yoga mat, kind of looking around, not knowing where to go. And the nice thing is that they come in pairs, they'll come with a friend and just kind of encouraging. But we get a lot that just come in and want to try it. They've never tried it. We give them a tour. We go through the schedule. We talk about the different styles of classes and, our intake form. We get that information. What's your yoga experience? Are you working through an injury? Do you have any recent surgeries? And what's your goal for this class, for your practice? So we give them a tour of the schedule of the studio, go through the schedule. They meet the instructor. The instructor goes through same thing, do you have any pain, anything that you're concerned with? And we start from there. Usually they call in and they ask what class can I start with, and we suggest the classes that are good for beginners. If they've had a practice before, we have all levels classes that they can just jump into, but with most of our classes we have modifications. The teacher offers options and modifications. So even if you have a beginner, intermediate, advanced student in the same class, they can all benefit from.
So slight variations in how you're performing the exercises.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And so you mentioned if somebody's like trying to recover from an injury. So if somebody has an injury, then this doesn't necessarily preclude them from being able to work with yoga.
No, absolutely not. We have, we always ask that they clear with their doctor, of course, and I always say if something hurts, don't do it. Like we can offer you all the modifications, but if something is painful and just kind of back off. But we have gentle and restorative classes that are good for those that are recovering from an injury, or even those that haven't moved, in a long time. I get calls from people saying, what class do you have for a couch potato? So, I have students that just in a matter of a few classes, they can see a big difference, that come and have been sitting on the couch for years and can't even get up and down off their mat. And within a few classes, they're, making progress. So it's really neat. That's my favorite part, is just seeing the progress in our students and, having and just seeing them come back, Oftentimes they come in and we just don't know if they'll be back or not, and seeing them come back, and it's really great. So
I imagine so. Mm-hmm. So what about somebody who's more senior? Is this something that's appropriate for somebody who needs to maybe get some more movement into their life that's, more of a senior situation?
Yes. So we have, like I said, those restorative relaxing classes that anyone can do. Those are all levels. They're good for young and old alike. But we also offer chair yoga. So for those that have a hard time getting up and down off the floor, we use the chair as a prop. So pretty much every pose that we can do on the mat, we can do with the chair. And so it's not necessarily easy yoga, but it's just a prop. So those classes are good for seniors. We have alignment-based yoga, so there's not a lot of balancing in those classes. And so from there, we use props. We use the wall a lot in those classes, and just working on balance, but you have the support of the wall. So as we start to age, the first thing we notice is our balance. We're not able to hop around, on one foot or stand on one foot. So, we work on those things.
Very good. Now, you mentioned earlier that there's mental benefits. What do you mean by that?
So the biggest thing is it helps with stress relief, which stress, being stressed and having stress in your body can lead to a number of different other ailments. And, I can list, but, depression, anxiety, all those things. So the biggest thing I would say is that it helps with reducing stress, not only, in the body and the mind in your life, but so that's the biggest benefit I see.
Yeah. So you mentioned it's not just sitting on the cushions
right.
and meditating, but are there aspects of that you bring into yoga to have more of that dynamic of it brought in?
Yes. So we do mind-body connection. So most of our classes start with sitting and breathing and just noticing the breath and connecting with your breath. And oftentimes during the 1-hour yoga class or 75-minute yoga class, it's the first time in the day where our students notice their breath. As you're brushing your teeth, you're not really noticing. You just know you're breathing. But so we start with that, noticing the breath and establishing that mind-body connection. So what I give my students the intention of for their practice is just to keep your connection with your breath, even if it's just for this 1 hour or for one pose. We start our classes with that. So.
Oh, good. Now, this is going to sound maybe a little strange, but I talk to a lot of different people, and one of the concerns I hear sometimes from people about yoga is they're afraid that it's a religious practice and one that's not maybe one that they're comfortable participating in. Is yoga a religious practice, or what's the connection there?
So yoga started in the East, in India, thousands of years ago, and I believe when it started, it was considered a religious practice. But as it became, westernized, so here I think we've practiced more hatha, which is the poses themselves. There's so the simple answer is no. Yoga is not religious. Some people may see the connection with Hinduism or the Buddhist religions, but I think with the religion part, the goal of yoga is to come into enlightenment, and that can be translated differently. You know, for the Hindu religion, it could mean freeing yourself from reincarnation, and in the non-religious view, enlightenment can mean just finding stillness in the mind. So,
greater awareness of the human condition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things I see, like with yoga, especially because of like the background with the different words and phrases, or the talk about chakras and things like that. And you said that there's more kind of a westernized version where we're looking at kind of the practices themselves.
Yes.
I see that as kind of a connection, like with mindfulness itself, which has become much more of an important thing right now, I guess, in culture. We see this coming up quite a bit, again, for the ideas of the stress release. But initially, there was a lot of pushback or concern because there was a thought that, you know, meditation, or, you know, what mindfulness is part of a religious practice. And I think people are starting to see, well, no, actually, there's just some mental exercises that we can do. Like you said, just simply noticing the breath, being more cognizant of being in the present moment, that have powerful benefits that don't have anything to do with a specific religious connotation, although it's compatible for people to incorporate it into different religious traditions if they want.
Correct.
So is that kind of how you see like yoga today? It's kind of, people can take it in that direction. They can go down the road of chakras or those more traditional terms, or they can just do more of a exercise version of it. Is that kind of
Yes.
the idea?
Yes. And like I said, most students that come to our classes come for the physical aspect, but we do offer meditation classes for those that want to go into the mindfulness and not necessarily the spirituality, or, you know, but they can interpret it or take it in that direction as well. So yeah, we don't pray, we om, but that's just connecting with, you know, the sound of the universe and the vibrations, but not, you know, there's no religion tied into
Gotcha.
to that.
So have you always done yoga, or is this something that's a bit new for you?
So I've been practicing for nearly 20 years. So I've had a regular practice. Being a studio owner is something that has happened in the last few years, and a yoga instructor. But I started my practice about 20 years ago.
Nice.
And I started for the exercise, you know, as another means of exercise. So, you know.
So what kind of changes did you see in your life?
So when I first started, it was just, you know, I started with hot yoga, and it was an intense practice. So I came out feeling like I got a really good workout. You know, I would get a nice sweat. About...
Can I stop you for just a second? When you say hot yoga, are we talking about like sauna, or what do we mean by hot yoga?
So in the style that I was doing, the room was about 105 degrees with about 60% humidity. So
kind of a sauna.
Kind of a sauna. Yeah, you just standing and breathing, you would sweat. And, you know, it was a series of poses. And so for me, that got, you know, my adrenaline going, my heart rate going. And so that was good for me at that time. Shortly, I married a Marine. My husband, Lee, was in the Marine Corps. Shortly after we got married, about 2 months into our marriage, 9/11 happened, and so almost immediately, he was deployed, and, you know, several deployments. So then, that's when I started noticing the mental benefits. You know, it helped me with focus and stress and sleeping better and all that, because I was, you know,
stressful,
very stressed out. It was I was a mess, I would say.
Yeah.
And so that's when I noticed, wow, there's other benefits to yoga other than the physical benefits. So
you have a studio and a lot of amazing services, it sounds like, you offer there. Are there ways for people, if they're not ready to go to a studio, that they can do some things at home, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's, you can find yoga anywhere. You know, there's tons of YouTube channels for yoga. The Wii Fit has yoga. You can
Oh, yeah.
you can get or DVDs. You can do yoga at home. There's a lot of people that have home practices. I think in the studio you have the benefit of having an instructor that's watching you and giving you proper alignment cues, and so yeah, yoga is available everywhere.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yes. So one of the things we've been working on here, especially last week, we went through a series where we were talking about morning routines, talking about, even some stuff about how to wake up in the right type of the sleep cycle to feel refreshed, and first things that you should eat or drink in the morning. And one of the things we talked about was getting started with movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we talked about was coming up with a kind of a mini routine that someone could easily do at home.
Yes.
To kind of get the day started right. What does somebody need if they're going to try and do this at home?
A spot, pretty much the size of a yoga mat is all you need. Not much space. There's a lot of props that you can have. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need a space to practice.
So is the yoga mat pretty important?
Well, I would say it's important for just to have a spot that you call, for your practice. Also, so you don't slide around.
Slip.
Yeah. And
so if somebody's looking to get a yoga mat, anything special they should be looking for?
Something that's grippy. We practice barefoot, so you can wear socks. I like to wear my yoga socks. They have a little grip on the bottom, so non-slip. So when you're shopping for a yoga mat, you just want something that's sticky or non-slip. The thicker mats are nice if you have a hard floor, and it's nicer on the knees, but that also can kind of hinder your balance if you're working on those balancing poses. So
yeah. Well, before we jump into that, is there anything else you wanted to share with us about yoga?
I just, like I said, it's a practice that anyone can do. We have, children's yoga at our studio. We have chair yoga for seniors. So I just would say, don't be intimidated by yoga. It's not a bunch of flexible young women in yoga leggings, practicing. We have all ages at our studio. Our teachers range from age 21 to 70. So we have men and women, children. We have husbands and wives that come, sisters, best friends. So, yes, it's.
Well, that's great. And for people who are local, we will have in the show notes links to your studio so people can find out how to get in touch with you and see about coming by.
Yes.
So with that, why don't we get started, and you can lead us through the routine, and maybe we'll go through it a couple of times.
Perfect. I would love to. Thank you. Start in child's pose. So we'll be beginning in child's pose. Take your knees to the wide edge of your mat. Your big toes to touch, forehead to the mat. Pressing in to your forehead between your eyes as you begin to notice your breath. And if you'd like, you can set an intention for your practice. An intention can be a feeling, a word, anything that speaks to you, something you want to improve, something you want to work on. Again, by taking a nice slow inhale in through your nose as you expand, bringing the breath back out through the nostrils as you contract. Trying to slow down the inhale to notice the breath coming in all the way to the bottom of the belly. Slowing down the exhale, belly to your spine as you contract and releasing the stale air that's at the bottom of your belly. Take 2 more nice rounds of breath. Follow the inhale all the way in, the exhale all the way out. As you take your next inhale, slowly rise on all fours to tabletop. Shoulders over the wrists, spread your fingers wide and hips over the knees. Nice neutral spine. Keep the gaze to the top of your mat. For cat-cow breath, on your inhale, lift your chin and your hips. And on your exhale, round your spine, chin to your chest, tilting your pelvis. So follow this movement with your breath. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale to cat pose. Take a few rounds of breath just like that. And if it feels better to hold a pose, just hold, but continue to breathe. This is good for a nice warm-up of your spine. Also your shoulders and your neck, your hips. So you're noticing this connection you have with your breath. Keep this connection throughout your practice. Take 2 more rounds of breath. As you come into your next inhale, back to tabletop and neutral spine. So again, check your foundation with your hands. Nice, strong foundation, spreading your fingers wide. Tuck your toes and slowly begin to lift your knees off the mat into downward facing dog. So lift the hips, push the front of the mat away from you, and you can pedal into one knee and then the other, swarming up. Your head can hang heavy here, or you can gently shake or nod the head. Now for the next couple of breaths, hold a steady downward facing dog, really pressing into the fingertips, lengthening up to your heart and up to your hips, stretching down towards your heels. With your next inhale, look forward between your thumbs, and as you exhale, walk your feet up towards the top of your mat. So feet between the hands. Keeping your fingertips on the mat, soften the knees. So take the knee bend as much as you need to keep your fingertips on your mat. Let the head and neck go heavy. You can stay here for a few breaths, so you can reach for your opposite elbow and sway from side to side and ragdoll. Again, you just want a nice release of the low back, heavy in your torso, releasing the head, the neck, and releasing your hamstring. So keep your knees nice and soft. And as you hold and breathe, notice your feet, establishing a foundation for your standing poses. So feel the 4 corners of each foot firmly grounded on your mat. Take a couple of nice breaths here. If you're in the ragdoll pose, release your fingertips to your mat, and as you take another inhale, lengthen your spine. So you can press your fingertips into your mat, or hands to your shins, or hands to the tops of your thighs. So lengthen the spine in a half lift. There you go. Heart forward, shoulders back. Feel this nice stretch in the backs of your legs, your calves, your hamstrings. As you take another inhale, forward fold with your exhale. So again, just release the head, the neck, soften the knees. Slowly bring your hands to your hips with your elbows to the sky. Soften your knees, and as you inhale, slowly rise. So come just standing. And take a few moments to gain your balance. Let the blood rush through the body. So we find mountain pose. So you want to start by grounding through the soles of the feet, bringing the energy up to your calves and your shins, up to your quads, your core, rolling the shoulders up, down, and back. Bring the palms slightly forward into mountain pose. As you inhale, reach your arms over your head, spreading your fingers wide, and turn the palms in towards each other. With an exhale, fold forward, bringing your fingertips to your mat, soften the head. On your inhale, come up halfway, lengthening your spine. And on your exhale, forward fold. Inhale to reach your arms overhead, so root to rise, stand all the way up. Look at your thumbs and bring your hands to your heart with an exhale. Take one full round of breath. And we'll do that 2 more times, a half sun salutation. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, lift and lengthen, looking at your thumbs. Exhale to your forward fold, releasing the breath. On your inhale, extend your spine, come up halfway. Exhale, forward fold to release the breath. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Again, looking at your thumbs. And with an exhale, hands to your heart. 1 breath. Again, mind-body connection. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale to your forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Hold your forward fold. Take a few moments to, again, release the head and neck. So bring your hands to your mat and step your left leg back into a long lunge. Release your knee down to your mat. Engage your core and slowly reach your arms over your head, drawing your shoulders over your hips. So if you're finding you're a little wobbly here, keep your toes curled under and draw your inner thighs as energetically together for balance. If you want to go a little bit deeper in this pose, you can always bring the hips forward, getting a nice hip flexor stretch, or you can look up, reach your thumbs back, take another breath. And with your exhale, bring your hands back to your mat, framing your foot with your hands. Lift the left knee and step the foot forward, forward fold. Come up halfway on your inhale and forward fold, exhale. Step the right leg back into a long lunge. The knee comes down to the mat. Engage your core. Bring the heart forward, arms reach up. Again, same thing. Take a few breaths here to really get into that nice stretch, lengthening through the fingertips. Engage the glutes and the quads. Lifting your heart, protect your low back. An option to look up and reach the thumbs back for another inhale. As you exhale, bring the hands back to the mat, framing your foot with the hands. Lift the knee and step the foot forward, forward fold. Come up halfway on your inhale and forward fold, exhale. Reach the arms all the way up with an inhale. Looking at your thumbs, palms together, exhale, hands to heart. Take 2 nice full rounds of breath. Inhale, reach your arms over your head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your mat, left leg back. This time, keep the knee up for a high lunge. Engage your core, heart forward. Inhale, arms reach over your head. High lunge. Again, find your balance. And if this doesn't feel good to you, you can always bring your heel to your mat. Bring your hands to your heart. Spin the left heel down into a warrior 2. Reaching the fingertips away from each other. You can look beyond your middle finger on the right if that feels good. Flip your right palm up, reverse your warrior as you inhale. Take a couple of nice breaths, and if your leg starts to get fatigued, you can always straighten the leg. Bring your arms back to parallel warrior 2, straighten your right leg. Reaching the fingertips forward for triangle, lengthen the spine. Place the hand on your shin as your left hand reaches over your face. Lengthen the spine, twisting the upper body. Keep the gaze forward, or if it feels good on your neck, you can look up or you can look down. Try not to strain your neck. Both legs are straight and strong, spine lengthening. As you take your next inhale, slowly come up to arms parallel. Use the strength of your core. Bending your knee once again into a warrior 2. Reach the fingertips forward for side angle. With your knee bent, bring the forearm to your thigh and your left hand over your face. Side angle. Again, you can take the gaze to whatever feels best on your neck. And with your next inhale, reverse your warrior. Flip the left palm up, the right palm up, the Left hand can rest on your thigh, or you can bind the arm behind you. Take in another full inhale, lengthen. With your exhale, bring the hands to the mat. So frame your foot with your hands and step the right foot into a downward facing dog. Take a couple of nice breaths. We'll do the second side. So inhale, looking forward between your thumbs, and on your exhale, walk your feet up to a forward fold. Come up halfway on your inhale, extending your spine, and exhale to your forward fold. Root to rise, reach your arms all the way up with an inhale, looking at your thumbs, palms together. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a few nice breaths. So as you notice, bring your thumbs to your heart and notice your breath. Let's do the second side. Inhale, reach your arms over your head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, hands to your mat, and step your right foot back. Engage your core, reach your arms over your head, high lunge. Again, a couple of nice breaths, find your balance. Hands to your heart, warrior two. Spinning the right heel down. Try to find a nice alignment, heel arch, so a nice straight line from the heel to the arch of the foot. Flip your left palm up, reverse your warrior on your inhale. Nice couple of breaths. Arms back to parallel, warrior two. Straighten the left leg, reach the fingertips forward. Slowly place your hand on your shin as you reach the right hand over your face. Triangle. Working on strength and balance, lengthening the spine, twisting the upper body. Keep the fingertips spread wide. And using the strength of your core, inhale, come back up, arms parallel, bend the knee, warrior two. Now reach and lengthen with the fingertips one more time, keeping your knee bent, forearm to the knee. The right hand comes over your face into a side angle. Don't forget to keep that connection with your breath. Back to reverse warrior, flip your left palm up, reverse warrior. Inhale, exhale. Your next inhale, lengthen. Exhale, windmill your hands, bring your hands to the mat to frame your foot, and step into downward facing dog. Take a few nice breaths. Pressing the fingertips into the mat, lengthen the spine. Slowly release down to your knees. Take them to the wide edge of your mat. Bring your big toes to touch. Sit your hips back towards the heels, child's pose. And take this time to reconnect with your breath. Noticing the changes in your body. Noticing your heartbeat. Come back to your intention if you had one. And as you go about your day, remember to reconnect with your breath. Think about your intention for the day. Thank you so much for joining me on this practice. Namaste.
Well, Reyna, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming by this week. Really appreciated that, and I'm looking forward to trying this for myself. And I'm really hoping that we can get you back sometime, because I think this was a lot of fun and very helpful.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'd love to come back.
Great. Thanks so much.